Hello world, how everybody doing out there? Hopefully everybody doing well. Welcome to another episode of Generational Health and Self-Love. I'm your host, Life, and today we found our way back to the Vegan Social ATL here at the Westside Motor Lounge, where you have a lot of vegan vendors set up. They selling food, they selling clothes, they selling juices, they selling everything plant-based and vegan. So if you in town, if you stay in the area, you definitely want to come out and get you a taste of this good vegan food and just socialize. There's a lot of things going on. They got a stage, they playing music, they got games, they got so many things out here for you, not just food. So if you ever have time, it's every Wednesday from 5 to 10. Come out, bring your friends, bring your family, bring your children. It's family environment as well. So I just want to say peace and love.
Yo, like you said, we back out here at the Vegan Social, and we really want to get the opinions of everybody out here, see if they're enjoying their time and how they found out about the Vegan Social. So that's what we're finna do. Let's get right into it.
Hello world, how y'all doing today? Welcome to another episode of Generational Health and Self-Love. I'm your host, Life, and I'm here today with my brother here. What's your name, brother?
James Harris.
James Harris. Well, James, I just want to ask you, how long you're plant-based?
I am.
Okay, how long have you been plant-based and what drove you to be plant-based?
Got it. So I've been plant-based since August 10th, 2016.
Okay.
And so, funny story, actually, a friend of mine, her grandmother wasn't feeling well, right? And so it was during the time where I was a pescatarian.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of downloads in regards to like all the vegan documentaries on Netflix or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommended to a grandmother, hey, you should consider a plant-based diet, right? To feed your body the medicine that it requires in order for it to heal itself.
Yeah.
Old school. She was apprehensive, of course, right? And then on top of that, she actually owned a restaurant in Alabama, and they're serving up all the
soul food,
all the soul food,
yeah, so
if you
to
will.
speak. Yeah.
And so she was apprehensive at first, but she said, "Hey, if you guys do it with me, I'll do it with you." She said, "I'll do it as well." And so I was like, "Great." And so I was pescatarian at the time. I love my seafood,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I was like, it was on the roadmap, so I was like, you know what? Why not go ahead and convert now?
Mm-hmm.
It's for a great cause, right? And I was planning on doing it anyway. And so that what led me to transition, sooner than later. And that was again on August 10th, 2016.
Okay. So real quick question. How did she do as far as going plant-based? Did she get better, or was it,
Oh yeah, she definitely had, when you started transition over to plant-based, right, you start to feel lighter, to feel better. So you start experiencing like all those things that you hear about when people, talk about transitioning over to plant-based.
Okay. Well, look, you know what? That's really inspiring, though, to bring that to her, and then she turn around and say, well, if you do it, I'll do it with you, and you accept the challenge. I feel like that's like really a great thing to hear, because a lot of people will say something that they won't even do.
Right.
So for you to do that really means, you stepped up and took responsibility as well. But what I want to ask you, what led you to besides that, were there other things that prior to hearing that from her challenging you, did you say, you know what, this is something I want to do down the road, or what led you down that road?
Yeah, I would say just going on that rabbit hole of just like the vegan documentaries on Netflix, right? So for me, it started with Super Size Me, right?
Yeah.
Then Cowspiracy came out, I downloaded that, right? And then I started to question things, as I was watching it. So I watched it all the way through like the first time. And then the second time I watched it, I paused it, was taking notes, asking questions, and researching the questions that I had, for myself.
Yeah.
And then once I knew better, I started doing better.
Yeah.
Right. And so that would let me down that path was just that information. And once I know something, like I just can't go back. Like,
well, this is a big question. I try to ask everybody. When you first transitioned to plant-based, how did your family feel about that?
Of course they were apprehensive. They were very curious as well. Right. But so funny. Most recently, I come up in a lot of conversations now, because it's like, oh, well, James, he might be on to something, right?
Yeah.
Or, I need to really start considering what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Because, you can only get out of your body what you put into it, right? And then when you're getting up there in age, right? And you're like, dang, why is my body, starting to feel like it's failing me, you have to ask yourself the question, did God design my body to function in this capacity, right? And the answer is no, right? And so I tell them all the time, I say, I wish you guys can live to see when I'm 50 plus. I'm going to redefine it.
Yeah.
Like my goal is to live to be a Satyrian. You'll see in like blue zones, right?
Oh,
You got people who are average in their community, the average age is 100.
Yeah.
And they're living, independently. They don't need no one to take them to the bathroom, wipe their behind, right? Or give them a bath or anything like that. They are doing it on their own. And then majority of their diet is vegetables, right?
Yeah.
They may eat a little fish, right? Because they're right there on the water or whatnot. But yeah, that's my goal in life to be, because it's not just about the nominal term of hitting 100, right? It's how you can experience life as well at that age.
Yeah.
And so I want to hit 100, but then also I still want to be self-sufficient as well.
Oh man, I love that, because I've been the blue zones. I've been hearing a lot about the blue zones. It's like they say it's like 5 of them, I think. And I was just so fascinated by the research I was doing, hearing about the blue zones, and I'm like, wow. Because I don't know, it's a brother out here. He's out of Atlanta. His name is Bobby. I forget his last name, but he's plant-based as well, and he's been doing it for quite some time. But he used to be a doctor in the hospital.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so he said he tried everything, and when he went plant-based, that's when all his issues ceased. But for me, I've been plant-based since 2009, and when I did it, my family was looking at me like I was crazy. They like, "Did you join a cult?" I'm like, what are you, like, really? They like, "You gonna stop eating chicken?" It was like, I cussed God out. I'm like, I feel better. I'm looking better. But now we fast forward. 2009, 2024. Hey, what you think about this? What you think? You got something? Something I can take this? Like now, I get all these questions.
Right.
So, do your family call you? Well, I know you said they said you insightful and all that, but they call you all the time.
They utilize me as a research for sure.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it feels very empowering.
Yeah.
Right. To know that, and also it gives you, it's like a signal, right? As well to let you know that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because you're being that example, you're leading, and then also you can actually teach others and bring them along the way. Right.
Yeah.
I always, in every interaction, I always try to add value to people.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I can just get them to just ask a question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, that's all I want. They ask the question, they ask the question, they'll look into the question, right? Find the answer.
Yeah.
And then they start to take steps down that path. And eventually, they'll get to where you will like them to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And my mom, she called me one time. She was at the hospital, and she's like, "My blood pressure is sky high." And I said, "Mama, hold on. Let me ask you something real quick. Are you ready to listen to me, or you want to keep listening to the doctors? If you want to keep listening to them, ain't no need to have the conversation." She said, "I want to listen to you." Monday, this is Friday. Monday, blood pressure back to normal. Gave her 2 herbs, dose root and yucca root. Gave her those 2 things. They're good for blood pressure and they're good for diabetes. She don't have diabetes, but her blood pressure, and her 3 days, it was back to normal.
Oh, wow.
Now, she's not plant-based, but she's, well, I ain't eat no meat today, and, those type of things. So she's been incorporating things over a period of time. And I don't think she would ever just go all the way.
Right.
But I mean, as long as I can have you here, I'm just going to be appreciative of that, because only thing I can change is myself.
Yep.
But before we get up out of here, I just want to say, man, I really like your energy. You seem like a really good person, man.
Thanks.
And I just love to see my brothers out here helping each other.
For sure.
Because it's time to stop hurting each other. It's time to start loving one another and showing that love throughout, so that even once we transition, that generation that's coming behind us,
right,
they won't go through some of the things we went through and some of the things we've seen.
Exactly.
And just, we just got to be better people overall.
Exactly.
And health, that's where it starts with. It starts with our health. So if you can talk to the people out there, if you can tell them one thing about the transition, or just anything that can help them in their life, no matter what it is, would you say the few words, Sean?
No worries. I would say that, I always tell people that to eat closer to God. And what I mean by that is God provide us gifts from the earth, right? And so by eating a plant-based diet, by going vegan, right, you're eating closer to God. Anything that grows out of the ground, right, that's edible that you can actually eat, it's going to provide nutrients, going to provide value to your body, right? I mean, you look at the process of preparing a plant-based meal versus the process of, an animal-based meal. A lot of people wouldn't even don't even want to see that process, right? And I think if we actually were like truthful about, the processes and how it actually works and actually saw it for ourselves, I think a lot of people would change their mind as far as, what they choose to put in their mouth.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Because like you said, what you put in your body is what you're going to get out of it.
Exactly.
You put garbage in it,
You
you can't expect life from garbage.
Exactly.
It just don't happen. And that's like, I tell people, like, we turned our stomachs into a graveyard.
Yep.
Like, it's just dead carcasses in our stomachs.
Indeed.
And we expecting to get out here and just live our lives. No, we're going to have to sit down.
Indeed.
And we're going to be somewhere in the nursing home getting beat on by Lily Mae.
And to that point, it's, you hear old people, even today you hear old people say, oh, they don't call Sister Mary Clarence home, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at what Sister Mary Clarence actually ate. You say, well, no, God didn't call her home. Every time she sat at the dinner table, she picked up the phone and she was yelling for God to call her home because of the choices that she made as far as what to put into her body.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, her body failed and she went home. And so when she asked God, why you call her home? Like, you've been calling me, blowing up my phone every day, every time that you sat down and ate something. So,
well, before one more thing,
sure.
Could you get if you're on IG or social media, please give the people your information so they can follow you, and maybe something that you post or put on there, maybe they can learn from that.
I try to add value in every interaction, right? So you can follow me on I Am King of Kill.
Okay.
I post, I try to support vegan organizations such as this one, right, that put together this event, and also, across the U.S.
Okay.
And then anything that I see, I think that will add value to other people. I always try to share that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, guys, you just heard it. Follow him. We had just a great interview. I hope everybody paying attention out there. Follow, support, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Man, that was beautiful, man. That was